actually new build in 1990 when he was pro stock racing, and when he moved up here in this area, we became real close friends, and he asked me to be the driver of his gasser, and I thought that was a very honor to be able to do that, and we've been real competitive with it.
We just hit it off because we had such a close background to the same, coming from the same era, back before the Civil War. And it's just been a lot of fun, As you get older, you're looking for a reason to go, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. I've kind of done it all with the drag racing, all the way from back to having a $200 car you drove to high school, to working on it, to all the way up to pro stock, and then building race cars with a sideline company I had in Florida, Mullis race cars. It's just been a great experience. Met a lot of great people.
Yeah, when Bill asked me to drive his gasser, he asked me, did I have any background in stick cars? And I said, yeah, I actually started out in 1969 in my daily surveil and won my first race. And a few months later, a guy, Clemson University professor, had a Corvette drag car, and he come to me and asked me, he said, I hear you're a pretty good stick guy. And I was a young kid, and 15 years old. And I wanted to know if I wanted to try it, and I said, yeah, I'd love to try it. And of course, they stuck me. The first race I went to actually stuck me in B gas because we had the moon tank on the front of the Corvette, and we didn't have the axle on it. But anyway, they got that straightened out after the next race and moved us into B altered. And it was just on with ever since. A passion that a lot of people don't understand. Drag racing is a good, clean sport, and it's a lot of fun, and meet a lot of good people doing it. And that's what it's all about, having fun and meeting the people.
30 years ago, down in Florida, there was a couple of brothers from Tennessee that had a 57 Chevrolet, and they came all the way down there to the race, and they had Too Fat to Fly on their car. The only time I'd ever seen it, and I don't know, it just stuck with me. I was in my early 20s, and it just seemed to be the thing to do with this one. Doing the Foghorn Leghorn on the side, I thought was, I've always liked Foghorn Leghorn, so that's where that started.
It's just unreal. It's a publicity that car gets because of that cartoon character. One thing, it's a good fast car, but the kids love it. They see that and they just go, crazy over that character on the car, because we really the only cartoon character gasser, I guess, out there. I haven't seen another one, but that Too Fat to Fly has just been a good hit. It's just a good hit for the name of the car and the gasser deal.
Yeah, it was a natural. It was a natural for the gasser car, and just a fun deal, and everybody likes it, so we love it. We'll grin right along with them.
Yep.
Well, people don't realize how difficult these things can be. Getting a gasser car with a straight axle and all on it to go straight. And when I first bought the car, I chased it all over the track. I tell you, I'd bring everybody to their feet because I was from one side to the other, and thought it was me. See, so on the wheel, because I hadn't done it in years and years and years, but we kept working at it. Still couldn't get it to handle right. I found a fellow up in North Carolina that helped me with it, and the front end needed to be adjusted and set up properly. And I didn't know anything about it, just straight axle. This car is pretty sophisticated. Well, once we got it right, it's like driving a Cadillac. And you'll see these guys going from side to side and chasing and all that. And it's scary, it'll make your heart beat.
Oh yeah.
But, that's part of the fun too, is really not knowing what the next gear shift's gonna bring for you, I've always loved it, and it's so simple compared to what other kind of racing that we've done through the years. some of my other cars here with all the electronics and all that. There's nothing in that. You got a clutch and a brake and a gas and a shifter. That's all there is to it.
Yep. Yeah, we run that car there. It's actually an H pattern. It's done an inline shift. It's an H pattern like it was back in the old days. It's supposed to be. You know, everything is pretty much old school. It's just a lot of fun to drive. I mean, when you pull up to the starting line and get the car up around 8,000 RPM, and you drop the clutch, it's like nothing that you ever experienced before in your life. I mean, if you've never been into something like that, it's a real rush. And that car there, I have with the wheels in the air, I have to pull second gear in the air. That's how quick it's leaving. And it's a lot of fun to drive. And like Bill said, the car handles so good. It's just you would never think there's a straight axle under the car. At 130 miles an hour, it's like driving a Cadillac down the road. I mean, it just handles that good. And I feel like, again, I feel real fortunate to be able to have a top level car to compete with these other guys, because I know the car's safe. Bill's all about safety. And when we run the cars and we bring them back, he brings them in here. He goes through them, makes sure everything's up to snuff, just like the guys are doing today. He checks the cars out. He don't let us run the cars if they're not safe. If there's any doubt about anything, he takes care of it, makes sure it's right. That's how you have a good winning team, when you got everybody working together.
Well, I've come from the day back when I first started racing and stick shift racing, back when I was in my early teens and 20s. It would take me 8 transmissions, 4-speeds, to get one good one. And once you got the one good one and you tore that up, then you were tore up. I mean, I couldn't afford to buy good parts and do the right thing, and I'd break axles and using stock axles and all, and just, you know, I learned the hard way, and I mean the hard way. Crawling around the floor in the shop and an old pole barn and pulling motors out under a tree, and, you know, I've been there and done all that. So
Yep.
we've kind of been from the bottom to the top, and pro stock motors, you know, paid $75,000 for the first pro stock motor I bought, and that was way back. It's incredible how the sport has advanced through the years, but it's fun to go back to the roots. That's where the fun's really at. Last time I was over at Commerce about 6 months ago, my car I raced for 30 years, it's a super gas, super street car, and I couldn't focus on the tree very well, and kept having to roll the delay out of the box to get competitive, and went a few rounds, but you know, something's not right. And it's turned out to be cataracts, which is not a, you know, most people my age have to deal with it at one time or another in their life. So I'm getting that taken care of. But as soon as I get that done, I'm ready to go. I mean, they're all sitting here ready to go. So they're waiting on me now. It is fun to go watch Rickey have a great time, and he does such a great job with the car. See somebody enjoy something like he does, it's just fun to be around it.
When Bill asked me when he was having trouble with his vision there, he called me one day and wanted to talk about some stuff, and I came down and he said, "Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my vision there, and I like for you to, if you would, fill in for me till I get straightened out." And you just don't know how much of an honor that was to be able to get in that car. Because that car there is a state-of-the-art car. It's a perfect car, good race car, and it was just an honor to be able to get in that car and race it. And it's different. You know, it's all the electronics and stuff is different. I said, but it was an honor to be able to get in that car and fill in for him while he's having a little difficulty. And I can't wait till he gets back in it and take my name off of it and go watch him do it, because he's good at it too. It's just it was just an honor to be able to be affiliated with Mullis Motorsports. I mean, you know, you just don't know what that's like. You're driving for Bill, and everybody in the racing industry knows him, and you know that makes it a lot better. You know, easier when you go to places. If you have something problems, you can relate, you know, to each other. And it's just an honor, you know, to be able to do this.
It's just fun, and the people that you meet, and you know, stepping back a little bit from it, the past 6 months or a year, I realized how important the friendships are that you build out there on the road. I mean, people from all over the country that you know. I ran the NHRA circuit for years and years and years, and we traveled all over. My son-in-law at the time was world champion twice, and so we were in the thick of it for many, many years. And then we started building cars, and that was kind of a sideline, and it just took off. The friendship that you build through the years is really what it's all about. And the racing, you know, I go to a drag race to have fun, and a race breaks out. So that's kind of the way I've always done it.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like this gasser deal, you know, when it came around, started coming back, you know, it got to be all these older people got to coming out, you know, and I've seen every race that they've had, like at the Hot Rod Revival, I've seen every race it's getting more and more and more people our age, you know, that's coming back because they can relate to these cars, you know, because that's what they did back in their days, you know, that's how it was, you know, and I think that's what's really got this gasser thing growing, is because people can relate to it. Like that Super Fit car, a lot of people don't, they look in there and see all those electronics, those computers, they don't, never seen nothing like that, you know, and you look in this car just like it was back in the 60s. No 3 pedals, 4-speed, you know, straight axles. And I really think that this gasser deal is going to get bigger and bigger. I really do.
I have 355 Chevrolets, and there's a red and white one around here that you probably got some pictures of that. I could very easily make a gasser out of that. It wouldn't take much. I mean, I've still got a lot of things. I've got a Lenco transmission over here on the floor, and another motor or two, and you know, you just gather stuff through the years. But yeah, I don't know which way we'll go here. I love to compete, and that was part of the problem. I didn't feel like I could be competitive with my eyesight with a cataract situation. And you know, I don't want to be there and competing if I can't feel like I'm competitive. I mean, you're certainly not going to win every race, and you're going to get your brains beat out a lot, and you know, there'll be 500 cars there, and only one of them wins. So there's a lot of people went home not feeling real good about themselves, but I just enjoy the whole thing, and win, lose, or draw. As long as you feel like you tried and you've done a good job, and just wasn't your day, that's the way you got to deal with it. And that's life. That's life in particular.
Yep, that's right. That's why my wife, Jan, she's my crew chief, and her and I have been racing together for 50 years. That's how we met. And this gasser deal, she can relate to that because that's how we started. You know, that's how we met back in the old stick car days, and now she's really into this gasser stuff. She loves it because it's stuff that she can relate to. Plus, she likes to do the dress-up thing, like the old '60s style stuff. And it just makes it a lot easier when you got the family involved, and you know, and Mullis Motorsports is we all family. So feel like, and got the guys over here that works on the cars, Ted and Darnell. They keep everything in good shape for me, and it's just a good atmosphere to be involved in.
Well, I go all the way back to the flats. That's how old I am. And, you know, we had a nostalgia race there in my town there in Braden, Florida, where I grew up, and a real nice race facility there. And every year they'd have a flag race, nostalgia race. And I'd kill those boys on that flag, because I did it when that was it.
Right, that's how we did it.
And we were racing on the street. That's how we did it. We didn't have all the fancy lights and all that. But so I kind of had an edge on the younger fellas doing that. But I think I won that thing 3 years in a row. You know, the whole sport, everything has come so far. It just blows my mind the power that the cars are making now, and I remember back struggling so hard to get an extra 5 horsepower out of something, and
Yep.
now, you know, they put a blower on them or something and it's 500 horsepower. But things change and you gotta roll with the flow. That's all. Still love the old days.
Oh yeah, that's you know, like I say, we got these bracket cars and everything. We still race, but when you get back in this old gasser car, it's just so much fun. It brings back memories from the past, you know, and the main what I like about it too is the fans. The fan base is, like I say, it's getting bigger and bigger. I can see it every race. It's getting more and more. The gasser deal is, I think in the near future is going to be the thing. I really do. I think it's going to get that big. If everything keeps going like it's going now, and everything is going to be real good in the future. I really do. And the main thing that you got these people that run these tracks and try to promote these races. They got to relate to the race car and the drivers on what it's like on the other side.
And that's what it's all about. People have to be aware of what's going on. And once they see it and see how much fun they have, anybody that says it's not fun watching a gasser go down the track, they need to go home.
Yeah.
They need to go home.
Yeah, when you drop that clutch, like I say, at 9,000 RPMs, and that thing gets in the air, you know, there's no feeling like it. I'm telling you, it's a real good feeling, and it's a lot of fun to drive that thing down through there, pulling them gears. And my wife tells me before I make every pass, when I start out on the track, she opens the door and she said, I don't want to hear you in between shifts. I want it to sound like an automatic. And she says that every pass. It's all about that. You don't want to hear no letting off the gas and shifting the gears. You want to keep it on the floor.
My first gasser I had, my father-in-law helped me, and he was a truck driver. And we worked on his truck there in my shop behind my house and what have you. But we were out the track one night, and he helped me a lot with the car. He said, let me take that thing down the track one time. And I said, well, sure, no problem. He got in there, and it really embarrassed me because he wanted to double clutch everything, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and he had a great time too. But can't be competitive doing that.
No, that's one thing about these cars too. You know, when you move that stick, you know the crowd they don't want to hear you letting off the gas. You know, they want to keep it matted to the floor. You know, and everything, and that's what too makes it interesting too on pulling that stick. You know, you got to be on money. You know, you got to be on time on your shift points and everything, and those cars are pretty violent leaving. You know, so you got to be on your toes when you drop that clutch off the line. Like I said in the previous area, I have to pull second gear with the wheels in the air. You know, and it's a lot of fun, boy. I'm telling you, it is. It's a real experience. Yes, sir.
Well, you know, there's so many opportunities out there now, and so many variations of racing and how fast you want to go and what have you. And certainly, everyone seems to want to go faster and faster and faster, and that's when the money comes into play. But you know, there's entry level stuff. You don't need $100,000 car to go out and have fun, be competitive, and you know, I've raced everything at the drag strip. Because the first time I went to the track locally there when they first opened it up, my wife and I rode out there, and we only lived about 2 miles from the track, so I could hear them running. And we went through the gate, and it was $5 to race and $5 to get in. And I told my wife, I said, I won't ever come through that gate that I don't race something. And I've raced everything from Lincoln Town cars to four-door dualies to you name it, you know, because you can.
Yeah.
And it's fun. You don't have to go 150 miles an hour to have fun.
Right.
So I think once the kids realize that just the excitement and the fun of it, and then it's kind of where wherever it takes you. I'd love to see more the younger crowd get involved, and we're seeing that come around, especially with the gassers.
Yeah.
They seem to really enjoy that, and it's a different day today than when we were growing up. I mean, it's in every aspect. So.
You see it, last couple of races, I've seen some younger guys coming into play, building cars, and there was a guy built a new car, and he came over to the Hot Rod Revival last year, and he was asking me about his car. It's all new, and I got to ask him a few things about what kind of transmission he was running and what kind of rear end did he have, and he had a good motor. He had everything good, but he started out all wrong. He started out with a 12-bolt rear end, and that ain't gonna work. And he had a cycle out 4-speed transmission out of a Vega, and I said, that's not gonna last. Well, first pass he goes down there, he turns the rear end out of the car. Then he came back and he said, well, I guess you're right. I said, well, I'll tell you, the horsepower that these motors are making today, you got to have the rear end in the car right. You got to have a good transmission, a good clutch. You got to have all that stuff, and if you don't, you might go out there and have fun, but you're not going to be competitive at it. And you're going to spend a lot of money replacing those old parts, where you'd be better off to go ahead and bite the bullet and get good stuff in your car, because if you don't, you're going to be frustrated and broke before you get started good. And that's the key to this thing, is having good equipment to start with, unless you want to go start out in a street car and learn from there and kind of move up, but you just can't start out with junk, to be competitive at it. You got to have good stuff,
Yeah, I almost got seriously hurt one time. My wife was with me, and we had a 56 Chevrolet, and it had a real good motor in it. I blew the clutch up in it, over-revved the car and blew the clutch up in it. But it's because I couldn't afford to buy a good clutch. It was a rebuilt clutch that I put in it, and it was devastating when that clutch blew up. I mean, it scared me to death, and I put hydraulic cams in my first race cars after that, because I was scared of the RPM, But we were very fortunate not to get hurt.
Yeah, I had the same thing. Similar happened to me. Mine happened in the water box. My wife, she's my lineman and crew chief, and I had a transmission to explode in the water box, and that's very uncommon. Now, you don't ever hear that much, but it happened to me, and it disintegrated that transmission. And thank the good Lord, my wife wasn't standing close enough, because when it spit all them parts out, it all went out from under the car, and it could have been a disaster. But we did have the safety stuff on the transmission, and if we hadn't, it'd have probably took my legs off. And safety in this racing industry is key. Number one is the safety issue. You need to keep everything up to par, because you don't never know what's going to happen down track at 140 or 120, whatever. You don't ever know. You just want to make sure, just like Mr. Bill, he makes sure we're safe in these cars. And that's the key, too, is keeping your car in good shape and safe.